As you begin using the Elements portal for partners, there's a few things about the user interface to be aware of. First, on the homepage, each of the customers that you've added will receive a card. That card will contain the customer's name and any graphic you may have loaded for them as a logo. Below that, you'll be able to see information about the jobs that are running and the services that have been assigned. In this case, I'm using my own account with some test tenants from Office 365, and we can see here that the services have expired. Real world, if you maintain an ongoing business relationship with your customers, these will be green and active. At the bottom of each card is a shortcut that'll jump you over to be able to view some of the different reports that are available. You can also get to reports by clicking the reports link over here on the left-hand side. The two reports that were listed at the bottom of the individual customer boxes were the operations report and the storage consumption report. If I click on customer operations report, this is going to show me my various customers and, again, information about the services that those customers are consuming. Up at the top, it shows you the different services that you're offering to your customers and any types of jobs that have been running. If I click here, for instance, on Cloud Backup, that allows me to drill down and view deeper information about that particular service. The default that it wants to show you is finished jobs and only jobs that have finished within the last week. If you change the time range, you see that will update the report. The same is true for going to the Items dropdown and adding additional types of items. Now we get a better view of how we're running Cloud Backup across all of our individual customers. If you want to view how something is running just for one customer, then you go to their box and you click View Details. Again, up at the top, I may need to modify these drop-downs a little bit to be able to see what I want to see. But I can see here now, for this particular customer and that particular service, here's a brief history from last month. If we return to the Reports tab, we also have license usage. Viewing that report allows you to see how many licenses a customer is consuming for each of the services that they are using. The storage consumption report allows you to see how much storage is being used, which is particularly useful if you're looking at cloud backup for Office 365. So we go in there and then we again take a look at the individual cards and we can see the consumption. If I click View Details, it allows me to drill down and actually break down what kind of information is being stored. Again, you can see up at the top left, there's a range that you can change through, and that may change what it is that you're seeing. Other reports include user activity reports. So for instance, me, what types of actions have I taken? If there are additional users that I've set up, which you can do over in settings, then I can see what those users have been doing as well. Support ticket reports, any support tickets that have been submitted on behalf of the users, you can review them and follow up on their status. And then insight reports are based on job rules that you can create based on how you tag your customers. Back over on the Customer Directory tab, we can see that there is a tag column. When you're first setting up one of your customers, you can add a custom tag, or you can always go back in later on and edit that customer and choose a tag that you've previously set up down here from the bottom. Over on the settings view, we can see that we've got some system options. That includes general settings. General settings are things like the date and time settings. I talked about the tags. This is where you would create those tags that can be applied to your customers. Storage profile is useful to set up if you're going to be bringing your own storage for cloud backup for Office 365. You can figure that ahead of time so that way when you add a new customer for that service, it automatically knows where you want to put the backup data. And then here's where you would configure those insight rules that I mentioned before, which allows you to pick tags and then assign them to specific types of jobs. Under Account Manager is where you could add additional users. So if I go into User Management, you can see right now I only have the one user, but I could click Add Users and add either a local, which would only exist here in AvePoint Online Services for Partners, or pull someone in from my Office 365 tenant. Whichever I decided to go with, I would then want to add that person to a group, and if you don't want them to have full control, back out under Settings, under Account Manager, we have Group Management, and this allows us to create new groups with limited permissions. So I might want someone, for instance, to just be a reporting user. So I could give them the ability to come in here, view all those particular reports, and then even dictate which customers they're allowed to view those reports for. I would give that group a name and then save it, so that way when I created the user, I'd be able to assign them to that group. If you want to create someone else with the same top level permissions as the account that you're using, well then you would just add them to the administration group. Also in here are notification settings. Notifications can occur based on certain jobs. So if you want to be notified when your backup jobs run or when certain reports are completed, for instance, you would set up the notification profile first, and then you'd be able to select that in the appropriate screen. And feedback management allows you to view any feedback for your individual customers. This is very particular to a scenario where the customer does go into AvePoint Online Services. They can use the little smiley face button up at the top to enter in feedback and provide a rating, and that will come to you as the partner, which you can then review. Finally, back over on the customer directory, just keep in mind this is where you can see the names of your customers, you can see the accounts that are being used from Office 365, the tags I mentioned earlier, services that they are consuming, and if you need to, and you can edit information for that customer at any time right up here at the top. Thanks for watching this short video on navigating the Elements portal for partners.